morning, golfers, and welcome to Finding Fairways here on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY and our Up North Sports Radio channel on YouTube. Brought to us by BoyneGolf.com. Jerry Coyne zooming with my original co-host, Kevin Frisch. Kev, um, interesting decisions on the U.S. side. Surprising that uh, Keegan Bradley decided to stay on the sidelines.
Yeah, I think that as cool as it would have been, um, he probably made the right decision. I think if there's a couple things, if he picks himself, the focus becomes on something entirely different than the Ryder Cup and the matches all week. That's the only thing that would get talked about all week is him being a playing captain. Everything would be centered around that. His match would be centered or everything. It would just I think it would actually take away from just the purity of what the Ryder Cup is all about,
Boy,
is my opinion. I wasn't against him playing either. I thought at one side I thought, having him come out and hit the opening tee shot and, would be
oh
really
God, it would
cool.
have been insane.
It should
Plays
have
the
been,
first match and
yeah.
then figures it out after that. See, that's what I would have. The way I looked at it, he goes out in the first match on Friday, and if he wins, okay. If he doesn't, then maybe he doesn't play again until the singles. He goes out in the first singles match on Sunday.
I'm going to give you an even cooler scenario. Michael Jordan, his close friend. Imagine the first tee at Bethpage playing the music from Chicago Stadium during the finals, and Jordan comes right through the tunnel and out at that music with Keegan following him, and then Keegan hits the shot. It would have been fantastic.
Well, it's going to be rowdy no matter what. I think it's a poor decision. I really do. The way he played at East Lake was phenomenal. He hits that one ball in the water, but boy, did East Lake play hard.
Oh, it did. I tell you what, if I was the PGA of America, just set everything else aside, if I was the PGA of America, I would take a serious hard look at East Lake for a PGA championship in the future.
Oh
I think
yeah.
that's a perfect venue. The way that Gil Hanse restored the golf course and the way that golf course plays now, I think is fantastic.
I mean,
But to Keegan's point, I mean, he shot like 64 on Saturday, an amazing round. But he even mentioned in his press conference, he kept alluding to how good all these guys played throughout the playoffs. Not one of those guys not one of those guys dipped. Not one of those guys fell back and played bad. Even Morikawa played really good in the playoffs and played really good in the Tour Championship. I think that he would really have a hard time um, leaving one of those guys off the team after the way they played through the playoffs to pick himself. And I
like I
just,
told you, I think Cantley is a not a great pressure golfer. Pressure golfer. He does make a lot of putts, but he misses putts when he really needs them.
he's
And
got a pretty good Ryder Cup. He
he
played pretty
does
good in
have a good
Alaska,
Ryder Cup record. That is true.
and he makes a
Um,
lot of putts.
yep. So, yeah, we've got what, four rookies. Um,
Yeah, I'm looking
JJ,
at it. JJ Spawn, Ben Griffin, uh,
Cam Young.
Cam Young, which I think is a great pick.
Well,
They're
they had
gonna
to take
love
Cam
him.
Young.
They're
I
gonna
don't think
love
that,
him in New York.
yeah, they're going to love him in New York. He's from that area.
Yeah, his
Yeah,
his
yeah,
his father is the head pro at Sleepy Hollow.
yeah. No, and
Cool.
he's playing fantastic golf right now. So
Yes.
you got to keep him. Burns is playing. Sam Burns played really good golf in the second half of the season, and he does make a ton of putts. And you know,
That's the thing. I don't think you can argue any one of his picks. And
no,
Morikawa, maybe he struggled, but you get these guys in an 18 hole match play. It's not stroke play. It can these guys can rise, and Morikawa is such a great iron player. You put him out in foursomes, and he can light it up. Or the other thing I was saying is, if he's struggling, and if Xander Schauffele's struggling, you put him out in foursomes together. you don't split them up to take down two teams. You put them together and you only lose one.
I have a funny feeling Xander will play well. It
Yeah.
just, he's going to look at it as this is the way I can save my season. And
Yeah, I agree.
yeah,
And but when Xander's playing good and Morikawa's playing good, that's a pretty good alternate shot team.
yeah. Well, here's the question, and I don't remember it. I guess I could look it up, and we will talk about it, the week of the Ryder Cup, and when I'm a little bit more informed. But who can you possibly play DeChambeau with an alternate shot?
I don't know if you play him. I don't know if you play him in
I,
alternate
I
shot.
don't know if you play. I mean, like the only guy I could think of would be Young. Um, because
Hmm.
even though Young is not, um, I mean, he's so buttoned down and quiet, but they play a similar style. I mean, they kill the ball, and
Right.
yeah, and Cam
Yeah.
has the strength to get out. Are you as fascinated as I am about how the course is going to be set up?
Well, they'll probably set it up the way they usually set up when it's here. They're probably going to cut the rough down, so the rough's not going to be thick. It's going to be a bomber's paradise.
Yeah.
So from that aspect, you know, maybe you could throw Bryson out there in an alternate in a foursomes game. If the rough isn't going to be deep and he could just let him go bombs away, which would be fascinating. Um, yeah, it would be interesting, but you, him in a four ball, you know, in a best ball would be.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's playing at least three times for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh
It-
yeah.
yeah. And is Scotty going to play all five times? You pretty much have to send him out every time, right?
I think you do. If it just I think it's interesting. I think Saturday afternoon always becomes the interesting. I think this is Davis Love with his decision at Medina to
Yeah.
sit Phil and Keegan when they were steamrolling everybody and they said we need a break before we go to singles and he said okay instead of saying no, you get your ass out there and win us that fifth point or whatever. That to me that was the difference in the Ryder Cup. So
It was.
if I think you got to look at all these guys, and if somebody's 3-0 going into Saturday afternoon and they're hot, you got to keep playing them. You got to keep, in basketball,
Oh, it doesn't matter. How
any
tired
sport,
can you really get?
you
I
can't.
mean, maybe Phil had a little bit of a bitch. Phil was in his late 40s then. I agree with you 100%. And then Phil lost in his singles match. That it backfired twice.
Right,
Um, so,
right.
but you're talking about a historically fantastic European team. It's going to be the same team that they had in Rome, other than the other Hogard brother.
Well, and it's going to be the same team that got smoked here at Whistling Straits too.
No,
So
no, that's
yeah, there's a
there's a
couple. For the
couple of
most
guys
part,
on
it's
it.
the same
There's
team.
Oberg was not on that team. McIntyre was not on that team. At Whistling Straits, there's four guys on the
That's true.
European team that were not on the
I'll tell
Whistling
you what.
Straits team.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be tough.
McIntyre is going to be tough.
He's going to
Uh,
be their bulldog.
Straka has been hurt. I don't know if he's going to be ready to play, but he was brilliant in Rome. Um, but so you didn't have Oberg, you didn't have Matt. I think Matthew Fitzpatrick played in Whistling Straits, but you didn't have Straka,
Right.
and you didn't have McIntyre, and Justin Rose didn't play in that either. He didn't qualify. So
And
and
they're all playing at a high level right now.
that's the thing. They're all other than Straka, like I said, who's been hurt. Everybody on this team is playing world class golf.
I'm hoping. I think it could come down to the last two matches on Sunday. We haven't had a tight one in a long time,
Yeah.
and this one is setting up to be a tight one because I know they're great, but you know what? We're great too. We've got great players, and
It's all
it's
going to depend on how the rookies for the Americans perform. If I'm Keegan Bradley, I'm pairing JT with rookies. JT's Ryder Cup record is fantastic. Even when he was stunk 2 years ago in Rome, he was our biggest point
What
getter. So, he's going, I see him with Ben Griffin
I was just going to say that I think him and Ben Griffin could
yeah,
be a great pairing.
or Henley, either or.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But,
Maybe you put Harris English with JT Spawn.
well, maybe you do. Harris English, he made it in on points. He's such a weird guy. Uh, God love him. He walks around the golf course like a robot, and
Right.
and
And he hits fairways,
he's
greens, and makes putts.
so we've got a whole month to digest this. We're going to have you back on probably
He's the
the week
quiet
of
guy that the
yeah.
quiet, unassuming guy is Harris English. Just.
Well, Cam Young is pretty low key too. I mean, a lot of these guys are really low key. I mean,
Yeah,
Burns is. It'll be interesting because if what you just said is true, Kev, and we have the pressure cooker of all pressure cookers on Sunday, and how loud it's going to be at Bethpage. Who's going to perform uh,
right,
under that stress?
right.
Even these Europeans don't play under that serious conditions.
Well, and this is the thing. This is why the home team, there hasn't been an away Ryder Cup won since that 2012 Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
And in each one since then on each other's soil has been lopsided.
Well,
So
yep.
it'll be
Pretty,
it'll be
yep.
interesting. And I think, are you gonna, you have to assume that Sam Burns and Scotty are probably gonna play together because they're
Well, they're
they're
going to at least play alternate shot together for
hmm
sure. Um, I don't know what you do. It's everything is up in the air. They first match on Friday tells so much of the tale for the tournament. It's incredible.
Well, in Paris, we got blanked on Friday, the first ever
What do you
blank
mean? And we
0.
only won 1 point in the afternoon. I mean, we were down what, 7-1 or 6.5, 1.5?
I think
I
it was
mean,
7-1 and it was done. It was
it's
over.
it's cooked, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know how psyched you get for this.
It's
You and I,
it's
we're
it's
going to
the
have to
greatest
find like a
event.
Buffalo Wild Wings in between the two of us to watch it. Big Rapids, buddy.
I'm gonna be up at Treetops.
What?
I'm gonna be at the
With the
Tyler
Pepsi.
Tyler and I are playing in the Pepsi, and so it's Sunday afternoon singles. I'm gonna have it on my phone in the golf cart.
Okay. Kev, we'll be in touch before the end of the
Absolutely, buddy.
year.
All
And
right.
remember, you owe me a Kingsley round. We got to get that done.
Yes, we will. All right,
Okay.
pal.
All right. We'll
Talk to
be
you later.
back after these words from our fine partners on Up North Sports Radio's Finding Fairways and our YouTube channel, brought to us by pxggolf.com.
If you haven't been to a PXG store, you are missing out. Every location is equipped with state-of-the-art fitting bays, the full lineup of our game-changing golf clubs, an incredible selection of PXG apparel, golf bags and accessories, and personal service that is absolutely second to none. The best part? It's a ton of fun. Come see us and find out what PXG can do for your game. PXG, you've never played like this before.
North Bloomfield Properties can remove the work of owning an investment property and give you more time to relax and enjoy Northern Michigan with family and friends. Their full-service approach handles all the advertising, cleaning, maintaining, and repairing of your rental home. You can trust them to take care of all the details. Don't cut your weekends short. Let North Bloomfield Properties take care of your downstate rentals. Call now and get your weekends back. 248-366-8484 or visit northbloomfield.com.
Grandview Golf Club in Kalkaska has set the standard for the best value golf in northern Michigan. Grandview has all the amazing golf vistas you expect from pricey resorts without the pricey. Immaculate greens and fairways are calling. Visit GrandviewGolfNorth.com to play your new favorite track. The newly renovated clubhouse with full bar and simulators is just about ready to host your group for an A-plus golf experience. GrandviewGolfNorth.com. Northern Michigan is home to many outstanding golf courses, but sometimes you crave the experience of playing a true legend. Whether it's Pinehurst, Stream Song, Whistling Straits, Pebble Beach, or even the old course at St. Andrews, TVC Cherry Capital Airport can get you there comfortably and conveniently with 7 airlines and 20 nonstop flights. World-class golf is more accessible than ever when you start your journey at tvcairport.com. Then set off to play the course of your dreams.
You just have to play it to believe this golf experience. Cedar Valley and Cummins and the Pines at Fairview. Cedar Valley has a challenging yet playable 18-hole championship course, while the Pines at Fairview is a flat-out fun 9-holer. Visit experiencecedarvalley.com to book your group or personal tee times. Join a league or plan to visit the beautiful RV park and seasonal amusement park to make it a family getaway that's more than just golf. You're going to thank us for recommending experiencecedarvalley.com.
Net.
Imagine your ultimate golf experience. There's a good chance it's Michigan's Magnificent 11. 11 spectacular courses from Boyne Golf, varied in both topography and play. Boyne Golf was named the #1 best golf destination in USA Today Reader's Choice 2025. And the Highlands at Harbor Springs is the #2 golf resort in that same USA Today poll. The ultimate golf experience. That's Michigan's Magnificent 11.
It's time to check in with our good friends at PXG Golf. I'm with Lindsay Wirt, who is the Senior Vice President of Design.
Yes, the apparel division. That's correct. Yeah. Nice to see you, Jerry.
Nice to see you, Lindsay. You know, we were talking a little bit off air, and I had no clue how deeply PXG has gone into the apparel side of golf as much as the club side. In fact, when you go to the store, you guys got more things to wear than you have clubs to swing.
Yes, that's true. It's been growing exponentially. I mean, since really started in 2020 when I arrived and we started building the team, and every year has been exponential growth. It's been so exciting to see.
Yeah, you have a serious background in design, working with some of the big fashion houses in New York.
Mm-hmm.
How did that kind of switch into, active wear?
Yeah. Well, yes, I've been lucky in my career. So I'm a native Arizonan, from Scottsdale. Went to ASU with business degree and left for fashion school in Florence, Italy at Moda.
Wow.
Didn't think I would come back to Arizona just because there's no apparel companies, right?
I would have never left Florence.
Yeah, one of the biggest mistakes, right? That's where I went wrong.
Yeah.
And so, I moved straight from Florence to New York City and did the whole, internship start with Zach Posen, and luckily landed some work after that. Mostly my background's in sales and wholesale, and worked at many great companies in New York, from Alexander McQueen,
Right.
a contemporary brand called Sachin and Bobby, and then back to Zach Posen, and then most recently my last position was at Kiki de Montparnasse, which is like luxury lingerie and lounge. So what a jump from that to golf wear after. But it's funny. So it was 2020, living in New York City. The world was in a weird place, and my husband and I were looking to new opportunities. We were open to leaving New York, and fortuitously a recruiter had reached out to me, seeing if I knew anybody who would be interested in a VP of apparel position in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I was like, what company is in Scottsdale, Arizona? Because of course, my whole family's there,
Right.
from there. And so I knew of Bob Parsons, of course, being from Arizona. not knowing much about the golf world, I did not hear about PXG before. So dove in right away. Learned that, of course, Renee Parsons was behind the apparel division and read a lot of articles of what she was after. And I immediately was interested because she was, looking for a brand to start a brand that really was versatile, had fashion forward aesthetic, but performance and innovation at the helm. And really, she spoke a lot in meeting her finally. It really was, we spoke a lot about, I remember our first conversation was about women in golf and that how much opportunity she saw there. And she herself is an avid golfer.
Right.
She just was like, I don't have anywhere to shop with the stuff that I want to wear. She's like, I want to look sharp and feel good on the course, but I want to be able to, like, with the change of a shoe, go to après golf with my girlfriends, go to the clubhouse,
100%. Yeah.
go on to dinner, maybe out, at a restaurant. And it's just really, I want it to be like, many endeavors. Women are so busy, with so many different active endeavors. She could wear this also to tennis or to yoga or running errand. It's just, we're just busy. And so that's what hooked me. That's what excited me. And really getting into like sports fashion excited me because there are so many innovative fabrics and things that I really was interested in learning about and expanding my knowledge on. And so that's really what started our connection, that the discussion on women.
Yeah, I can't wait to dive a little bit deeper into that. Our segments are only 3 minutes, so we're going to continue our
Yeah.
discussion with Lindsay Wirt from PXG Golf in next week's episode. So stay tuned here for more Up North Sports Radio's Finding Fairways, brought to us by pxggolf.com. Welcome back to Finding Fairways here on Up North Sports Radio and Up North Sports Radio's YouTube page, brought to us by BoyneGolf.com. I'm on with Steve Schuerman, PGA professional at Shanty Creek. And Steve, we've been a partner with you guys for a long time. You announced some incredible deals to end out the season this year that we just had to get out on Finding Fairways.
Yeah, absolutely. So we thought we'd end the season like we began. And so for the month of October, October 1st through the 19th, which is our anticipated last day of being open, although weather could extend it, we don't know that yet. But we
Right.
know we're going through the 19th. You can play any one of our golf courses on their open days because some days have courses are closed on their open days for only $35, which includes a cart. And we're already taking tee times for October.
Yeah, that's incredible bargain. I mean, you're talking about the Cedar River and Hawkeye that are well into the hundreds on the, and this is doesn't matter. It's $35 whether it's the weekday or weekend, right?
That's correct. Any day of the week that they're open. And obviously Cedar River, Hawkeye is closed on a Monday to Tuesday, but they're open Wednesday through Sunday. So there's plenty of opportunities. Some people have taken advantage already. There's some names on the tee sheets, and that's going to grow as we get closer to October. So I wouldn't hesitate to book.
No, especially if you want weekends. You want to jump on right now. You're watching this weekend. You want to go to shantycreek.com and get those rates because on top of that, Steve, the beauty of Cedar River in October is insane. We have people that that go on the golf course that have no interest in playing the courses.
Correct.
Yeah.
They just love the color, fall colors.
Yeah.
And that's why my background picture is, hole number 13 of Cedar River. It's just beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, the courses are beautiful anyways, but when you've got the oranges and reds and the yellows all blanketing the holes, I mean, it's hard to concentrate sometimes when you're playing that, and you don't care if you play bad. You're like, oh, I'm hitting it in the trees. Okay.
Right, absolutely. And then so once you're done with your round, we have chair rides. You can go up the mountain, up the ski slope to the very top and be over the top of the leaves. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, the other thing that's going on is you have a great what is it, $90 the stay and play package. So if you're going to stay there, it's $1 a hole.
It is. Yeah. So 90 holes for $90.
Right,
You can't play the same course 2, 3 times. You're going to play all 5 golf courses
right.
in this 3-day package. And yes, you just pay for lodging and $90 for the golf. And many people do it. Labor Day especially
Oh,
is a
yeah.
slow weekend typically at a golf course. We have tee times, so you could play all 5 golf courses.
Yeah, that is lower than the rack rate on the room, anyways. And essentially, you're getting your golf for free. And it's Shanty Creek, folks. I'm sorry, these are not pitch and putt golf courses. We had the Michigan PGA there this year on Cedar River. So you're talking about some of the highest rated, well tended golf courses in America. Stay at the beautiful hotel and play golf. What is it? It's a 3-day package, play all 5 courses,
Yeah, so
right?
it's 3 nights lodging, so you could spread that to 4 days if you want. Don't have to be so grueling playing 36 every day. So we can adapt to what their needs are to make it happen.
Steve, I know we've talked about this many times with you on the show. Your real passion is teaching. Do you give lessons all the way up to the end of the golf season?
Absolutely. So I have a lesson right after we meet today.
That's right.
A lot
Harry,
of
don't be
couples
late.
yes, a lot of couples this time of year. It's great. They're both trying to learn the game together and enjoy it together, and it's just amazing how many couples have called me since about mid-July. We were finished with our ladies' golf schools at that point, and I have a lot more open on my calendar and getting a lot of phone calls.
I love this concept. I talked about it with Dan McGinnis from Sugar Springs, who Dan used to work out at Cedar River, and he's an accomplished teacher as well. But this concept, which I don't think I ever heard of in my life 5 or 7 years ago, has become really popular. Husbands and wives learning the game together. And I just think it's fascinating on a number of levels. Number one, like guys have made the mistake for decades of trying to teach their wives the game themselves when they, even if they're great players, don't really have any idea how to teach a woman how to play golf. It's like trying to teach a monkey how to change your oil. It's just not, the communication process is not the same. And now this has really become one of the biggest parts of your teaching credentials.
Yeah, no doubt. And I hear that all the time from our gals in the ladies' golf school. They say, we don't listen to our husbands. It's probably a good idea not to, actually. Um, I mean, their intention is good, certainly, but they're not going to get the same results that we get by how we say it. We actually focus on the things that matter the most.
Well, wives rarely listen to their husbands anyway, so we could start there. But when you're talking about something as complicated as golf, it's probably a really good idea to start at the top. Yeah, I'll not listen to my husband about the golf swing. I might listen to him about, the toilet and some other things that down the list. But yeah, I love that idea. And do you charge an extra rate for that, or is it still the same rack rate for a lesson, whether you're teaching one person or a couple?
Yeah, so it's just a slight more, not much more. It's not like a second person more, in other words. So let's say, just as an example, somebody wanted to do an hour and it was typically $75 for a private lesson. It might only be 95 for the couple.
Okay.
Or I do a 2 hour thing for 189. And we can spread that over 2 days if they want. Or sometimes they've asked me to do 3 hours and I'll spread that over 2 days. So we can adapt to whatever their needs are.
Yeah, I'm thinking that people that are watching this right now on Up North Sports Radio or listening to it on Up North Sports Radio or watching it on our YouTube page, this is the marriage of this idea with the 90 holes, $90 stuff. You can go ahead and play. I bet you Steve is kind of already running out of lesson time during that great bargain. So if you can fix it up, I think that's a great way to spend Labor Day weekend or the weekend after you send the kids off to school.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a quiet weekend, beautiful weather. The days are a little shorter, so yeah, you don't get up quite as early. You don't have to stay out on the course so late. It's not so hot. It's just fantastic, and all the other things to do in the area too. It's just a great way to spend the weekend.
Well, just down the street from Torch Lake, of course, you got Shorts right downtown in Bel Air. It's such a fun town, and just to promote that atmosphere, they have live music at their venues all weekend long, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, at 2 locations right on the street there. I mean, it's almost like going to a German country, the way that Shorts is, and the relationship they have with Shanty Creek.
Absolutely.
Yep. Steve, as a working member at Shanty Creek, just give if people are really looking at this package, a couple of the great places that you like to eat right at Shanty Creek.
Oh, so there's options right here. I mean, right across the street at the hotel, across from where I'm sitting right now, fantastic, and it overlooks Lake Bel Air.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful view, and so there are some other choices as well. And then like once you're playing golf, there's the grills on the golf course. You stop at the halfway house or just prior to your round. There's some grills, so some quick type food. So yeah, we have choices. There's no question.
The barbecue joint that they have right above your Cedar River Pro Shop has incredible food, and it's completely different menu than you have at the Lakeview Hotel. So if you're staying at Shanty Creek, you can dine well and dine differently. Of course, we always talk about on my Friday Face-Off show, the Prime Rib Buffet, the Rich Calkins Memorial Prime Rib Buffet, because literally he's there every Saturday.
Right, absolutely, yes.
I don't know how he hasn't had a heart attack yet, because no one could eat that much prime rib, but evidently it's possible.
It's possible.
Steve, anything else? Let's a quick recap before I let you go on the PGA Cares program. A point of pride for you and Shanty Creek.
Yeah, PGA Hope is a wonderful program that the National PGA started a couple of years ago. We got involved last year. It's free lessons for veterans, and it's just so much fun and interacting with them. And we spend an hour and a half a week for 6 weeks, and they have so much fun, and they're really getting into the game. It makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, you've done a fantastic job with that, and really helped to rehab some more psychologically damaged veterans than everything, to be able to get out on the beautiful, quiet golf courses at Shanty Creek, learning how to manage the game a little bit, to enjoy it at its fullest. Kudos to you and your staff for doing it. I know how much pleasure you get out of it.
Yep, looking forward to it again next year. I'm sure they'll be.
Yeah, let us know what we can do to help. I know there's dollars. You get some dollars, but we're trying to raise them from other avenues. And if we're going to do something at the end of the year, let's make sure we get that out to the public.
Sounds great. Appreciate it very much.
All right, we got to let Steve go. He's got to do some marriage counseling / golf lessons
right
at Shanty Creek. We'll be back after these words from our fine partners on Up North Sports Radio's Finding Fairways, brought to us by pxggolf.com.
If you haven't been to a PXG store, you are missing out. Every location is equipped with state-of-the-art fitting bays, the full lineup of our game-changing golf clubs, an incredible selection of PXG apparel, golf bags and accessories, and personal service that is absolutely second to none. The best part? It's a ton of fun. Come see us and find out what PXG can do for your game. PXG, you've never played like this before.
El Dorado Golf Course is the best golf experience in Wexford County. Don't just admire the beautiful course and clubhouse as you drive by on Highway 131. Tee it up now. El Dorado's pristine course is rated top 25 in the nation by Golf Pass Now subscribers for conditioning and friendly staff. Weekdays, El Dorado is just $75 with cart and $89 on the weekends. 9 holes, just $55 any day of the week, and plan to get lunch or dinner in the clubhouse. Visit golfeldorado.com. Iron Pig Smokehouses in Gaylord are kicking off a spectacular happy hour from 3 to 6 every day of the week. Half off every draft, pitcher, and pizza, or choose from taco specials and delicious $6 apps, including burnt ends, pulled pork sliders, and loaded mac and cheese. The Iron Pig has 2 Gaylord locations, downtown on Main Street and near Otsego Lake on Old 27. For the friendliest, non-foodie dining in North America, check out the Iron Pig Smokehouse online and on Facebook and enjoy.
Twin Birch Golf Club in Kalkaska is preparing for a spectacular golf season, and you should too. The Twin Birch Clubhouse restaurant has quickly become a local favorite, with a lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch menu full of classic favorites, made with the freshest ingredients. See all the affordable membership options at twinbirchgolf.com, or save even more when you purchase Twin Birch Golf at qdealsmi.com. qdealsmi.com. See one of Northern Michigan's greatest golf values at twinbirchgolf.com. The championship layout at Sugar Springs Golf Course is a must-play. Designed by Jerry Matthews, Sugar Springs is nestled between West Branch and Gladwin. Country club conditions, fantastic greens, and exceptional value make Sugar Springs a one-of-a-kind playing experience. Michigan Golfer ranks at top 25, and Golf Digest gives Sugar Springs 3 stars. If you're looking for a new golf course to break up your routine, book around at sugarsprings.net. They guarantee it won't be your last. sugarsprings.net.
Who knew? Fresh air is a destination. Breathe in the glacial carved canvas of Northern Michigan's finest golf courses and have your breath taken away by scenic vistas from tee to green. The perfect place to perfect your game in more ways than one. The waves, woods, and wonder of Bel Air. Escape every day. Discover the magic of 90 holes at one resort. Shanty Creek Resort in Bel Air and online at shantycreek.com.
Welcome back to Finding Fairways here on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY, brought to us by PXG Golf. I'm joined by my good friend Fred Altvader from the Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, and USA Golf Reports. And you have a special guest with you, Fred. How are you?
Hey, Jerry. Great to see you today. Yeah, we're down here at French Lick for the Media Day for the Corn Ferry Tour event, the final event of the year. Their tour championship actually is going to be the first week of October. And the Pete Dye course here is fantastic. It's a beautiful place. And I'm going to let Brendan, who is the marketing guy here for French Lick Resort, tell you a little bit more about it.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. Welcome to Southern Indiana. We got an exciting day here. We got Joe Weiler from the Corn Ferry Tour, local guy. He's our guest speaker. He played golf at Purdue. We had the great experience of hosting last year as our first year of the Corn Ferry Championship presented by United Leasing and Finance. It's been an absolute riot. And Joe he's a Purdue guy, so he played here in the Big Ten Championships back in 22. But we also hosted 12, 13, and 14 Big Ten Championships. So over the last few years, we've hosted 7 of them. So golf is growing down in Southern Indiana, and we're excited about our second crack at the bat here at the Corn Ferry Championships coming up in October.
Let me ask you a question about that, because, generally speaking, the Corn Ferry Tour is about making as many birdies as possible. That's a little, going to be a little harder on that Pete Dye course.
Well, I tell you what, the numbers are out here. Braden Thornberry last year had to win the tournament to get his card. And he shoots a 66 on the last day to snag, the victory out of the hands of the other guys. So yeah, it's doable. But this golf course sets up. It could set up really nice and kind, or the elements could come and just slap you around like a rag doll. We're at the second highest point in the state of Indiana, 981 feet, and there's nothing around us to stop the wind. Pete Dye used to say, the wind start in Kansas and they wind up here. He's absolutely correct. Yeah, it's a joy, and we're having a blast with it here at the French Lick Resort. Our golf packages are selling through the roof. We got 4 days of Golf Channel with the Corn Ferry Championships, and it really shows off well on TV, especially this.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to boost it. Yeah. Fred and I were talking about this. Our good friend Kevin Frisch spent a lot of time working with you guys as well, and even with all the media attention and Pete Dye and of course a Donald Ross gem as well, there's a lot of people that have never heard of your golf facility.
Well, they're just not paying attention. So
what's wrong with them?
I can't we could bring the horse of water, but I ain't dunking his head in the tank. If you don't know about French Lick right now, you're just too bad.
Jerry, and we get to play a lot of great places and visit a lot of good stuff. And French Lick is always one of my favorite places to come and visit. They just have everything here. There's 2 spas, casino, any amenity that you can possibly think of. Fantastic dining opportunities. It's really, really a great place for a buddy's golf trip or a girl's golf trip or anything like that, for sure.
I tell you what, it's coming from you guys are up in northern Michigan. We get an extra 4 weeks on golf than you do,
right?
So we'll go heavy into November. We'll close the beginning of like first week in November. We'll close the dive, but we'll keep the Ross open probably through Thanksgiving, and then generally the beginning of March we open up. So we get a lot of play from the northern part. We're 6 hours from Detroit, which is great. So we're probably about 9 hours from you guys, but it's a whole geographical slide. The further south you come, and we're like really in the temperate part of the state.
Hey, Brendan, what is the closest airport for you guys?
Well, we do have a private or public airport, French Lick. So we have about 5,100-foot runway there. We get a lot of jet traffic coming in, but I'm an hour and 10 minutes from the Louisville airport, 2 hours and 5 minutes south of Indianapolis. So it's a 5-hour drive from Chicago, 3.5 from St. Louis, 3.5 from Nashville, Tennessee. The northern part of Atlanta is 7 hours away. So we get a lot of play, especially in the summer. We're seeing a lot of guys coming in from Texas, flying in because it's so freaking hot down there.
Yeah.
And it's an easy shot, especially on Southwest Airlines. It's been great there, but you jump on a Cherry Blossom International at your place, and you get to Chicago, you could get to Louisville.
Yeah, Cherry Capital. That's what I mean. That airport has just been booming. They're a part of our broadcasts here and our radio network. So I wanted. We broadcast from the airport, and half the people in the airport have got golf clubs. So I just wanted to know if our locals want to play in that shoulder season that you just mentioned, where they can fly into. So that would be Louisville or Chicago.
Or Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Or Evansville. Evansville is an hour and 15 minutes away as well.
Okay.
Same with Cincinnati. Cincinnati's 2 hours. Columbus, Ohio's 3. So
they're right in the middle of a lot of population here. So yeah, it's easy to fly in here and get here. Yes.
And Brendan, talk just for a minute or two about the Donald Ross.
Hands down, my favorite golf course. I've been around golf my whole life. 1917 Donald Ross Classic Gem, consistently in the top 100 classics. The Dye course here is #1 in the state. Ross is #2 in the state. It is truly a masterpiece that in 1914, Tom Taggart, our owner of the resort, went down to Pinehurst. He knocked on Donald Ross's door and he said, "You got to come up and build me a golf course." So Ross came up and they rode the countryside on horseback, and they found a piece of land about 2 miles north of the resort, and they literally carved it out of the rolling pastures. It was an old dairy farm. And if you look at the Donald Ross golf courses that are built, generally they're within a mile or two of a railroad. French Lick used to be a railroad town. So Ross would bring his guys in, the mules and his team, and they would basically clear the land and move on and let Mother Nature take care of the rest. But, host side of a major, we had the 1924 PGA Championship. Walter Hagen won it. 1959, 1960 LPGA Championship. Betsy Rawls, Mickey Wright won that. And then we've hosted numerous Epson Tour events there, Big Ten Championships, as I mentioned before, Indiana Opens. It's a darling golf course. The green complexes are just absolutely insane. The bunkers. I was out there this morning, and the way it wakes up in the morning, the shadows being casted is just, it's magical almost. And then you get that same show at night coming from the other direction when the sun goes down. It really is truly, if you want to play pure golf, it's easy to talk about the Pete Dye golf course. And Pete came here, basically manufactured a golf course with bulldozers and dynamite. Yeah. And Ross just carved it out of the land. And I think that's what you see when you have the argument between classic courses and modern courses. I'm a classic course guy, and I can almost see like the Golf Week or Golf Digest and the ranking systems almost coming up with the third tier of how you rate courses, modern to classic. There's only two things, but you have your modern golf courses that go back like to 1965. so I think there should be a third category, like mid-century golf design, and you have the classic gems like the Ross course or like Olympic Fields in Chicago, or you head up to Mackinac and have a special category for pre-World War II golf courses. I think that'd be a good way to do it. And then you have from the 40s to the 80s as your mid-modern, and then you continue on from there.
That's a really good point. It is a really classic golf course. It's, as Brent said, it's one of my favorites as well. I love playing the Ross course. Played it many times now, and it always. And yesterday when I played it, oh my goodness, it was in such fantastic shape. It was unbelievable. They just do a great job of maintaining everything, and everything is tournament ready every day.
Yeah, and we have actually Natalie Gulbis and Jimmy Hamlin out there shooting today.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and that's always a treat when those guys come down. He's got a cult following, and it's pretty cool. But if you look at the way that the golf world is changing nowadays, with the social influencing world and how people have basically a television station at their hands, and the way that news gets out, and it's changing the landscape on how not only do people watch golf, but how they play golf and how they perceive golf, and we're evolving with that, and it's a unique time to be in the golf business.
Yeah, well, there's so many options. I know, for years, Kevin has been, telling me about how great your facility is down there. Not only the courses, but the accommodations and the restaurants, and being an old basketball player, the Larry Bird Lounge, and all the fun stuff down there. But
buddy, come on down, Korn Ferry, man. We'll set you up, take care of, do your show from here, and
I will be in Colorado for that. But I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff. A lot of stuff going on in golf, but I'm meeting grandbabies. But I definitely want to come down before you shut the courses down there this year.
Hey, doors are open. I got 800 of them for you, so figure it out.
Brendan, what's the website? How do people plan their trip that we just discussed?
I tell you what, we're booking up quick. Obviously, go to the website, and if I have to say www, don't even bother coming down. But yeah, go to French Lick, figure it out, and we're booking now. 26 is filling up as we speak. We're booking now 27.
Wow.
You look at
there's going to be a third golf course here in 27 as well, Jerry.
End of 27. Yeah, we're building another 9 holes at the Valley, which is the 1907 Tom Bendelow golf course. But we have we're filling up, dude. We have a crackerjack staff of golf guys. Alex Whiteman, Tyler Jordan, they're our golf sales guys, and they're booking stuff. It's crazy.
We will be back after these words from our fine partners on Up North Sports Radio's Finding Fairways, brought to us by BoyneGolf.com.
Imagine your ultimate golf experience. There's a good chance it's Michigan's Magnificent 11. 11 spectacular courses from Boyne Golf, varied in both topography and play. Boyne Golf was named the #1 best golf destination in USA Today Reader's Choice 2025. And the Highlands at Harbor Springs is the #2 golf resort in that same USA Today poll. The ultimate golf experience. That's Michigan's Magnificent 11.
Northern Michigan is home to many outstanding golf courses, but sometimes you crave the experience of playing a true legend. Whether it's Pinehurst, Streamsong, Whistling Straits, Pebble Beach, or even the old course at St. Andrews, TVC Cherry Capital Airport can get you there comfortably and conveniently with 7 airlines and 20 nonstop flights. World-class golf is more accessible than ever when you start your journey at tvcairport.com. Then set off to play the course of your dreams.
Twin Birch Golf Club in Kalkaska is preparing for a spectacular golf season, and you should too. The Twin Birch Clubhouse restaurant has quickly become a local favorite, with a lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch menu full of classic favorites, made with the freshest ingredients. See all the affordable membership options at twinbirchgolf.com, or save even more when you purchase Twin Birch Golf at qdealsmi.com. qdealsmi.com. See one of Northern Michigan's greatest golf values at twinbirchgolf.com.
You just have to play it to believe this golf experience. Cedar Valley and Cummins and the Pines at Fairview. Cedar Valley has a challenging yet playable 18-hole championship course, while the Pines at Fairview is a flat-out fun 9-holer. Visit experiencecedarvalley.com to book your group or personal tee times. Join a league or plan to visit the beautiful RV park and seasonal amusement park to make it a family getaway that's more than just golf. You're going to thank us for recommending experiencecedarvalley.com.
The championship layout at Sugar Springs Golf Course is a must-play. Designed by Jerry Matthews, Sugar Springs is nestled between West Branch and Gladwin. Country club conditions, fantastic greens, and exceptional value make Sugar Springs a one-of-a-kind playing experience. Michigan Golfer ranks it top 25, and Golf Digest gives Sugar Springs 3 stars. If you're looking for a new golf course to break up your routine, book around at sugarsprings.net. They guarantee it won't be your last. sugarsprings.net.
Quit wasting time putting around and meet us at Wild Bluff Golf Course in Brimley, Michigan. Wild Bluff is a championship golf course with breathtaking views overlooking Lake Superior, with a full-length driving range, chipping area, and large putting green. Visit our fully stocked pro shop for featured golf apparel and equipment, or come to the loft to wine and dine like a pro. Like us on Facebook or visit baymillscasinos.com for more information. Your fairway to heaven starts here.
Welcome back to Finding Fairways here on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY and Finding Fairways on our YouTube channel. Jerry Coyne zooming in with the great Dan Pohl at the Pohl Cat. Dan, our own resident Ryder Cupper. And they announced the Ryder Cup team. I guess the biggest surprise or the biggest question mark was Keegan Bradley going to pick himself.
Well, that's been the guess of everybody, and I think the way it sounded like through his conversations with the media and stuff here this morning, that he really had decided quite a long time ago. Even though after he won at the Travelers in Connecticut, he still really felt that there was, until he could really figure that he was a key to winning, that he made the team that much better, that it was his job as the captain to just stay in the background, do what he was supposed to do. The honor of being the captain is huge anymore. So I think it was the right move, and I think he's got players now that respect him for that move rather than taking a spot for somebody that maybe have been ahead of him a little bit in points. But he didn't really surprise anybody by his picks. I think the
Not
surprise.
really.
What's that?
I said not really.
No, not when you look at the guys that were guaranteed to be on. I think, most people right now would have guessed maybe Morikawa would have been the guy out, only because his play hasn't been as good as the guys that, up above him. But, you still need those players that can react under the gun and that have been there, won major championships. And, there's a lot to be said about how you're playing right away, but when the bell rings and you're in that arena, it is a little bit different for sure.
Yeah, Morikawa, we talked about this when we were setting up the meeting, has putted atrociously, especially the second half of the year, and he's going to have to figure that out because missing a whole bunch of short putts at the Ryder Cup is going to cost you matches.
It is, but I think it's going to be determining by who they pair up, how they're paired. If he stays in the best ball portion of it, if he gets into the alternate shot, it could be an issue where he could bring a player down. But I think if he's, say you go and you pair him with either Scheffler or, Bryson DeChambeau, who's going to make, a lot of birdies, and he can just try to be consistent and not really be putting a lot on him to make a ton of birdies per se, just keep the ball in play, make pars, don't lose holes to pars. That'll be the function of the assistant captains and everybody to see who's playing the best
at the time. And that's really, to me, the hardest thing is trying to figure out, you got 12 of the greatest players on both sides of the pond playing, and who do you pair in the better ball, who in the 4 ball, those type of things. And I think even in our era of, in the 80s there with Jack being captain, he kind of let the players feel that out. We didn't have assistant captains. You didn't have pods. You didn't have all that stuff.
Jack did it all himself.
Well, he did it all, but you had Lanny Watkins on that team, Kite, Crenshaw, Larry. You had older guys that had been through the process. So whether you had Nicholas as the figurehead as the captain is one thing, but the players really will be the bigger choice will be who they feel like they can play with and who fits the game a little bit more on both sides of the equation. And we had such a diverse group of individuals in '87.
Yeah, you did.
Where, with Scotty Simpson and Larry Mize being those, what at the time would have been considered the shorter hitters. You had Kelkovecki and Bean, myself, power players, those type of players. And then you had Sutton and Lanny and, again, Tom and Ben and those guys who were just straightforward, big guys at the time. So again, it just depends on, how they see this going on and what Beth Page offers per day. Who do you send off early to get some momentum going? You've got quite a few rookies on there, but you've got the established players. So I think they were trying to balance that out. If I was second guessing, which would never try to do, you have Jim Furyk and all these guys, all tied into it. They're going to know who's playing, but I look at, just the pairing possibilities are going to be very interesting, especially when you match them up against what I think is a very powerful European team.
No doubt.
Across the board. So that's what's going to be kind of fun to see who, I don't think you do this and then you figure out, okay, how do we pair these guys together? And whether Morikawa is putting good or, whether he just makes a couple of clutch putts is all it takes. He makes a couple of good putts when he's needed, and all of a sudden he breaks through, and he could be the hero of the whole thing when everybody's second guessing whether he's playing good or not.
Well, you're gonna, almost assuredly Scheffler and Burns are gonna play matches together. They're great friends. Their wives are friends. They travel. They stay together. I don't know, I figure you're going to put Justin Thomas with one of the rookies like Cam Young or English, just to kind of balance that out. DeChambeau, is a kind of a tough guy to pick no matter what. Maybe Ben Griffin goes with him. But you've got a lot of interesting decisions to make. And as you pointed out, Dan, this is a monster European team. I mean, it's going to be essentially the exact same team they had in Rome, other than the Hogard brother. I mean, Rasmus will play instead of the other one.
Yeah, and actually, with McIntyre playing as good as he has been, he's got something to prove now. It's on both sides. I mean, listen, it could be, just flip a coin on who's going to play with who. Scheffler obviously could play with anybody, and it just, again, depends on whether they decide to go doubling up on best ball and 4-ball with those guys, or whether you start to spin them around and try to, I think the interesting player that fits a mold of a perfect Ryder Cup teammate is Xander Schauffele, in that he can kind of play his own ball, but he can also fit into the fact that he's, can go out on that 4-ball and be teamed up with, does he team him with another Callaway player? So they're playing the same golf ball. Those things become, a little bit interesting too, is, back in the day, we didn't have as many options when it came to golf balls and how they play and how they spin and all those things. So, certain players will obviously want to not have a harder ball or a less spinny ball or whatever you want to call it coming into a green. Maybe they are looking at some of that stuff as now the new, in-depth stuff that they are checking into. But, it all boils down to, hey, who plays the best? And I think Keegan understands that he would have been a great guy on the team, but I think he really recognizes that every one of these guys that have up there, I watched a little bit of it, and he was talking about how difficult it was to call like Maverick McNeely and guys who were right on the,
right on the line there. Yeah.
And so that's the real hard thing to do. And we didn't really have that. We talked a little bit before we came on about, I don't remember if it was the 10 solid picks and then you got two choices, I think, in our day. And I couldn't even tell you. We had an automatic one, and whoever won the PGA was automatically in, and that was Larry Nelson when he won at Oakmont in 87. So you look at some of that stuff and you say, okay, 6 guys, man, that's that would be difficult. I mean, it's tough. It's tough enough to kind of look at it and say how many should be eligible to play in this. But then you say, 6 automatics, and then Patrick Cantley has been taking a lot of guff for his speed of play.
Yeah, he has.
Do you send him out in the first group and really frustrate somebody? Put him back put him with somebody that isn't that's what they did in 87, man. The 2 slowest players on the tour in 1987 were Bernhard Langer and Kenny Brown. And who'd they put out in the first match? Those 2 guys. And they put them against 2 players that played pretty quick and that were pretty aggressive and stuff, and Hal Sutton and myself. And we really had to slow down our whole pace of play to try to coordinate a win out of there. And we did end up beating them, I think 2-1 or something. But that's the inside moves. It's who would you want to play and really beat the crud out of, and it'll be interesting. I look forward to just seeing that more so than obviously the play is going to be super, super fun to watch, but from a player standpoint, it's more like, okay, who's playing with who?
Yeah, I guess, I look at this, and to me, DeChambeau is the hardest guy to figure out to play. If you're going to play alternate shot, who do you play with him? Mm-hmm. Because he plays such a different style of golf. And you'd have to take somebody else who can bomb it and or get out of the rough no matter what. Now, I would imagine that they're not going to have a lot of rough at Bethpage Black. They're going to turn it into a bomber's palace, just the way that, in the opposite fashion of what the Europeans have done in France and Rome, where they made really narrow fairways, and the Americans just kept bombing and screwing themselves, shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that they won't do much of that because there's just as many bombers on the other side. So it's not an advantage that could go. It could go either way. I mean, you just never know. Obviously, I would go with DeChambeau might be paired with let's just say JJ Spawn the first outing and see whether it works. And then you don't put him in the second day of that. When you talk about 4-ball matching up, obviously he could play with anybody in the better ball.
Yeah, of course.
And just stick him out there and say, okay, go. Him and Cam Young would be fantastic as far as go make as many birdies as you go make as many birdies as you can. Yeah. But that can backfire on you. I mean, it kind of did on us a little bit in 87. It's not a huge ordeal, but Mark Calcavecchi and Andy Bean were playing together, and had 2 birdie machines at the time, great players. And unfortunately, they lost the last 2 holes of their match to pars and end up losing the match 1 down. So could you have had somebody in there with Calc or Beaner? I mean, obviously that's just an odd setup, but you don't want to lose holes to the potential of par. So do you put him with a more, like JJ Spawn in a bomber's day or a best ball and say, okay, don't lose holes to pars. Okay. DeChambeau, you go out and birdie 7 or 8 holes, see if you can win a few holes, but we don't want to lose any to pars. That's one way to look at it. Don't know what their thought process is. Be interesting again. Be a fly on the wall, trying to hear some of the things. Be like a big old cabinet meeting or something when they all get together, trying to figure this thing out. But I look at a few core. I mean, like I said, I would have difficulty personally playing with Patrick Cantley. I mean, just that's me. I would feel like I wanted to rush to get going. So there's going to have to be a person that's with him that's very stable, a little bit less, maybe Harris English or somebody that is very low keyed, very methodical in his presence and everything, and they just move along at whatever pace they decide to go. But those are the interesting concepts. Is I don't know the players well enough now to recognize yeah, they all get along. I mean, we all got along great in our day. We played against them at a time, but would I have been a great partner with Tom Kite? Maybe not. Was Hal Sutton and I a good match? Yes, we're very, good iron players, good aggressive players. So I think it'll be interesting also on Bethpage especially when you get into I don't know the golf course that well. I've never played it. I don't know if the par threes are odd and even. That's always an interesting thing when you've got great iron players. Because at Muirfield, we knew that the par threes were fantastic there, and every one of them was an even numbered hole. So Hal hit it on like number 4, 8, 12, and 16 were all par threes.
Right.
So he was at the time the best iron player in the game, in my estimation. That was back in the 80s, early mid 80s, and so we set it up so he would hit it on the even numbered holes. And so I don't know how Bethpage back sets up for that. How it sets up for the par fives, on whether Bryson can, on an alternate shot, hit a long drive and anybody can get to the par five, or is it so those are the interesting things when it comes to how you set up those pairings.
And we'll talk about that in the last show of the year when leading up to the Ryder Cup. Get a little bit more strategy after we can examine the teams and get your last call in. Dan, we still got a month or so left. When do you guys kind of button down Polecat?
Well, last year we were open until the first part of November. I mean, it's still dependent upon weather. Most of our leagues, I think we still got a couple that are still playing along, but we had the fun nights and things that are going along. But Michigan, buddy, we could be in the middle of October trying to figure out what the heck's the ice storm is going to come in. So I think you just have to play it by ear. We still have quite a few plays where we'll start dropping our prices to get people in and make sure that they are comfortable coming in and playing the golf course. In fantastic shape right now. I was just out got to play in Lynn Jansen's event down in Hastings on Friday, a fundraiser for the local youth that Lynn's been involved with for a while. And I just have to normally go out and break up some scar tissue. And so I went out and just hit a few balls drove around the golf course, and it is really, really, really in good shape right now. So, if you're sitting around, don't have anything to do up north and you want to come down to Polecat, we'd love to have you. But as far as when it closes, it's all
up to Mother Nature.
All Mother Nature's doing up. That's for sure, Jerry.
That's going to do it for us today here on Finding Fairways. As we like to say, find a fairway of your own, stick a peg in the ground, and pound it down the middle, hopefully at the Polecat before the end of the year. We'll be back with you next week here on Up North Sports Radio's Finding Fairways, brought to us by pxggolf.com.